So today we're going to learn about how to add and subtract with positive fractions. Your next test will be September 19th. You will not have any kind of test or quiz before that. So our essential question is, how do we add and subtract positive fractions? Well, you probably learned in elementary school the LCM method, which is least common multiple. And I'm actually going to show you a new method as well. Both works, and you can choose which one you like better when you're solving these problems. So let's start with least common multiple, since that's what you're probably familiar with. And I'm going to use LCM to solve 3/5 plus 1/2. So with least common multiple, I need to figure out what's my least common multiple between my denominators. Because when we add or subtract fractions, our denominators have to be exactly the same. I have 5 and I have 2. Those are not exactly the same. So I need to find my least common multiple so I can create new denominators. So I'm just going to recreate my problem. So I know with 5 and 2, the smallest number that they can be multiplied into is 10. So I know my new denominator will be 10 for each one. Now, I have to look at my first fraction here and my first fraction here. I know that 5 times 2 equals 10, so I have to do the same thing to the numerator. And 3 times 2 is 6, so my numerator here will be 6. With my second fraction, I know 2 times 5 equals 10, so I have to do the same to the top, and 1 times 5 equals 5. So now, with adding fractions, we simply add the numerator, so 6 plus 5 is 11, and our denominator just stays the same. So I have 11 over 10. Well, this is actually an improper fraction, so I need to change it to a mixed number. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to see how many times 10 goes into the number 11. Well, 10 goes into 11 one time, and there will be 1 left over. So 1 will go in the numerator, and my denominator stays 10. So 11/10 is 1 1/10. Let's solve the same problem using the butterfly method. So when we use the butterfly method, we're going to set up a new fraction. And what we'll do first is we're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 2, and that equals 6. So I'm going to write that in the numerator. Then I'm going to cross multiply and do 5 times 1. 5 times 1 is 5. I will write that in the numerator. For my denominator, I'm just going to multiply 5 times 2. 10 doesn't work. 5 times 2, which is 10. And then I'll have 10 in the denominator. Since this is an addition problem, I need to put an addition sign in the numerator. So now I have 6 plus 5, which is 11, over 10. And as we know from the previous problem, 11/10 is 1 1/10. Now, let's do subtraction with LCM. So I know I'm going to have a new fraction minus a new fraction. My least common multiple of 4 and 3 would be 12. I need to look at my first fraction. I know 4 times 3 equals 12. So I need to multiply my numerator times 3, which is 9. In my second fraction, I know 3 times 4 equals 12. So I need to do the same thing to the numerator. And 1 times 4 is 4. Now I have 9 minus 4, which is 5, over 12. That cannot be further reduced, so that is simply our answer, 5/12. Now, let's do the same problem with the butterfly method. So, I'm going to set up a new fraction. I'm going to cross multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm going to put that in the numerator. I'm going to cross multiply 4 times 1, that equals 4. And then I'm going to not cross multiply, then I'm just going to multiply my denominators, which is 4 times 3. That gives us 12. This is a subtraction problem, so I need to have a subtraction sign right here in the numerator. Now, 9 minus 4 is 5, and my denominator is 12. Let's use the butterfly method on this final problem. Now this problem has a mixed number. When we have a mixed number, it's easiest if we just turn it into an improper fraction first. So if I have 1 1/2, what I want to do is take 2 times 1, and when I get 2 times 1, then I'm going to add 1. So 2 times 1 is 1, plus 1 is 3. So in this improper fraction, I will have 3 in the numerator, and then my denominator just stays the same. So 3 over 2. So I did 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. That's what I get for my numerator. And then my denominator stays the same, so it's just 2. So now I have 3/2 plus 1/2. Now, I don't actually have to use the butterfly method here because my denominators are the same, but I'm going to do it anyways, just so we can see it. So with the butterfly method, I'm going to multiply 3 times 2, which is 6. Then I'm going to multiply 2 times 1, which is 2. And then that will be over the product of our denominators. So 2 times 2 is 4. And since this is an addition problem, you know I need to have an addition sign between these two numbers. So now I have 6 plus 2, which equals 8, over 4. And 8 over 4, we can think of that as 8 divided by 4. And that equals 2. And even without actually working all of this out, we know that 1 1/2 plus 1/2 is already going to be 2. So this just illustrates why the butterfly method is working. And again, whenever you're adding and subtracting fractions, if you are already comfortable with least common multiple, then please continue to use that. If you don't like that so much and you think the butterfly method makes more sense, then please use that. It's up to you. Whichever you think is easiest and whichever one works best for you, that's what I want you to use. Have a good evening, and I will see you in class tomorrow.